Vanessa de la Cuetra with Inside Pool Extreme News. I'm here with Deno Andrews, Director of IPT, as we just finished off the 8-ball and straight pool Ultimate Challenge matches. Welcome, Deno.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, what can you tell us? That last 8-ball match, it was pretty intense watching back and forth. Obviously, there are a few things that you would keep and change for the future. What can you tell us?
Well, it was probably the longest match of 8-ball I've seen in a long time, and it was certainly neither of the players were really playing that well. So it was a grind. They were each trying to win, and there were several mistakes made from what it seemed like, and certainly the pressure and the conditions played a part in that. And so I don't know. Maybe in future ones we lower the races a little bit to make it more exciting for the fans. We started to lose a few fans there at the end.
But actually, at the same time, you guys created a little more tension within the game because using the knack cloth, it is a lot more difficult to make these runs. So it's not that either or has an advantage. You've actually created something, so it's very difficult for a player to do things. Do you think that's better, or do you think, what's going on there?
I think there's pros and cons to everything. The conditions are very difficult, and I've often said that the reason that pool isn't more popular is because the game is so easy that there's so many players that play at the top level that it's difficult for certain players to stand out. If you ask any pool player who's the best player in the world, and nobody will give you a straight answer. But if you ask anybody who's the best golfer in the world, including every golfer who plays, it's Tiger Woods. And until pool has a Tiger Woods that stands out above everybody else on the toughest conditions, we're just not going to have any true pool celebrities that are known for their ability on the table. So I like the fact that we create a very difficult playing condition, and I hope that if we can come back full force and have a lot of events, that certain players start to stand out under these conditions.
And actually, speaking of, underdogs and better players, we didn't get to ask you who you thought or predicted as the winner. Who did you predict, and did you get it right this time?
No, I'm after the last one, we did 4 of those, and I picked the losers on every single one of them, and I'm very happy to say that this time I did the exact same thing. Yes, in the straight pool match, I thought John Schmidt was going to roll over Mike, but Mike pulled it out of somewhere and showed the world that, he's still here to play, and he beat arguably the best straight pool player in the world. Granted, it was a short match and it was a short race, but he still averaged over 30 balls an inning. And if you look back through history, there are plenty of world championships won with a lesser average or per inning average. So Mike played really well. I'm impressed, and I think that the pool world will hopefully have a newfound respect for his current game. Certainly John Schmidt did. And in the 8-ball match, I thought that Carl was going to have the advantage, but he seemed like he played much more slowly than he usually plays. I was expecting a much faster-paced game from Carl, and he seemed to be very slow and very methodical, and I think that ruined his rhythm. And honestly, I think that's why he made certain mistakes. And that's not taking anything away from Tony. I mean, Tony played beautifully, but Tony played the game that I think everybody expected that he would play, and Carl didn't bring his usual tempo, and I think that might be the subtlety that changed the match.
Well, also, Carl, as director, actually, on a side note, you have to make decisions very quickly, and if something goes wrong, you're there and you have to fix and go beyond this. All of a sudden, you find out Alex can't come, and this is, moments away. How did you feel about that, and how did you act that quickly?
Well, Tony had called us a few days before and expressed an interest in doing commentary. When he found out that we were doing the straight pool match, he said, "Hey, I'm a great straight pool player and strategist. I'd love to be involved at some point," and we appreciated that. It's great when players call and express their interest. So as soon as we found out Alex wasn't coming, I just, Tony was the first person I thought of, and most likely because he was the last person who I spoke to, and it's great. And so we called him on just a few hours notice and said, "Can you grab your cue and get on an 8:30 p.m. flight?" And he did, and arrived 1 o'clock this morning, got a few hours of sleep, and next thing you know, he's won a nice match and gotten some nice exposure. So I really appreciate what Tony has done for us. He's certainly gone above and beyond the call of duty, making himself available to come and play in a match like this. So thank you, Tony, if you see this.
Well, thank you, Deno, for speaking with us.
Thank you, Vanessa, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. This is Vanessa de la Cuetra with Inside Pool Extreme News, here with Deno Andrews of the IPT. Check out more great videos at InsidePoolMag.com.